So ever since I've been using the Lumen, I take my breath, and it always gives you a meal plan for the day. And since I've started it, every once in a while, if I have a really good weekend or I do a fast, it'll tell me to have more carbohydrates, or it will tell me to have less carbohydrates. But I mean, that is 90% of the time.
You know, I love good wellness tools, and the Lumen, you need to get one. It is a phenomenal health and wellness tool. I have lost weight on it. I've put my body into fat burning mode. I feel phenomenal after using this.
A lot of my clients are looking to lose weight. They've tried every metabolic hack in the book, but still can't seem to biohack their weight loss resistance, which is why I love this Lumen metabolic tracker. You just breathe in and out of the device for 10 seconds like this, and you get a metabolic reading. As you can see, I'm in fat burning mode. So you measure your breath all throughout the day. So that's when you wake up in the morning, before and after working out, before and after eating, and when you go to bed. You'll get immediate feedback as to whether or not you're burning fat or carbs, plus nutrition feedback on what you should be eating to achieve your goals, whether that be weight loss or gaining muscle or something else.
So I wanted to jump on here and tell you a bit about one of the tools I've been using recently to help me really understand and increase my health and wellness and fitness. And that is the Lumen Metabolic Tracker that guides you through a process, and it analyzes your metabolism based on your breath. And this, once you get the hang of it, it helps you to increase your metabolic flexibility by things like what you eat and when you eat. And the reason why metabolic flexibility is key is because it benefits things like sleep, workout performance, managing weight, losing weight, energy levels, generally better health. And I'm finding it really exciting to properly understand what I should eat, when I should eat it, and it's really helping me to strive towards my health and fitness goals.
And I'm feeling
Well, hello there, my lemon slices, and welcome back to the lemonade stand, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brianna. I'm a certified personal trainer, a big, huge biology nerd, and a registered dietitian to be in school. We are gathered here today for what I have recently realized is a pretty sporadic and pretty random series called Fact or Fiction. In this series, we basically just chat about weird things that I come across on social media. These things can be strange health and wellness trends, fitness gadgets, or anything like that. And then we talk about, are they fact or are they fiction? On tap today is something you guys have been asking me to talk about for a really long time. The health, wellness, and fitness device that we have seen fitness influencers talk nonstop about for like the last 2 years, the Lumen. Before we proceed, if you love science-based health, wellness, and fitness education with some lulz and some dry sarcasm along the way, hit that subscribe button and join the lemonade stand. I would really love to have you here. Without anything further, let's make lemonade. The very first thing I need to say to you guys is the day that I'm filming this, Friday, March 31st, Stormy, my foster puppy that's been offering her adorable "Hey, what are you doing? Star!" I asked her what she was doing. She just poked her head up from behind the kennel because it sounds like she's licking something. Anyway, this weekend, there's a very good chance that Stormy may actually be getting adopted. Finally, I can't believe it took so long. She's so cute. I'm letting you guys know that now because I'm filming next week's videos today and tomorrow. After these videos go up, there will be no more Stormy interruptions because she is probably getting adopted tomorrow. We're meeting some potential adopters, and I've been told that they are like ready to take her home tomorrow, which makes me happy for her, but also me and Ace are a little sad. Ace is especially sad because, you know, we fallen in love with her. And I know you guys have too, but we're happy that she's finding her forever home and she's going to people who love her as much as we do. You little shit. So when there's a Stormy interruption today, let's just embrace all of them because this, thank you, she's licking my boob. Let's just embrace them because these are going to be the last Stormy interruptions. No, that's my tissue, baby. What? No, she's just gone. All right, so the Lumen. What is the Lumen? The Lumen is a device that has taken health and wellness influencers, biohackers, biohackers, and some say charlatans, by storm. It's a small handheld device that you breathe into. What it does is analyze your breath and determine how much carbon dioxide you exhale and estimates the substrate, carbohydrates or fats, that your body is using most for fuel. It delivers this information in the form of a color-coded scale of 1 through 5. The company claims that this device can, quote, hack your metabolism, end quote, and influencers everywhere concur. The world of health and fitness and wellness influencers love the Lumen because they claim it can indeed hack your metabolism, help increase fat burning, and will regrow limbs and resurrect your dead relatives. That last part may have been a little bit of an exaggeration, but they do gas it up quite a bit. Also, if you hear any like weird sounds, Stormy is chewing on a Kong in the background, leave her alone. Let her do it. She's adorable. Detractors and skeptics of the Lumen, however, argue not necessarily that it doesn't work, but more so just that it's not necessary. I've seen a lot of nutrition and healthcare professionals even argue that it can even be a key contributor to the development of disordered eating tendencies or eating disorders. My personal opinion about the Lumen, as somebody with a biology background and somebody who is in school for nutrition science, is pretty much in agreement with this. I don't think that it doesn't work. It's actually based on actual science, which we'll talk about that more in a minute. But it is my opinion that it's just not a necessary device for the average individual. I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm fit. Why must I worry myself about whether my body is burning predominantly carbs or fats for energy? I think the science behind the device is very cool and it's very interesting. But again, I just don't think that most people need it, and it drives me insane every time I see an influencer shilling it or sharing their discount code for it. And if you have not yet seen an influencer shilling the Lumen and sharing their discount code, you're lucky. But allow me to ruin that for you right now.
Wanted to share a new device that I'm using for my weight loss journey called Lumen. So what Lumen does, it helps train your body's metabolism to utilize the food that you consume to burn more fat and carbs. What I love about Lumen is that it helps with natural weight loss. It helps you burn fat. It helps with your energy levels, and it helps with your overall blood sugar levels. If you're interested in giving Lumen a try, click the link in my bio, which will help you save 10% on your first purchase.
For the month of January, if you pre-order my book, you will get a Lumen device for $50 off. And that is a major discount on something that is worth a lot of money because it's such an effective health tracking tool.
Click the Lumen Metabolic Tracker button in my bio link and make sure you use code ShellyB for $50 off.
They're offering 50% off the VIP plan and my discount code works on top of it. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Click on the link on my profile page for more info.
If you're interested in purchasing one, click the link in my bio and use the promo code Sean and you'll save $30 off.
So ever since I've been using Lumen, I take my breath, and it always gives you a meal plan for the day. And hold on, before I explain it, let me show you.
Oh, hey girl! Fancy seeing you here, Mrs. McAllister. That last one was Melissa McAllister. Me and Melissa are besties. A couple years ago, she sent me a love letter in the mail. And by love letter, I mean a cease and desist. She didn't like that I made content criticizing her and calling her on her bullshit. So she decided that she was going to threaten me with a lawsuit to shut me up. Didn't work though. If you want to hear that story and listen to me read the entire letter that her lawyer sent me, I will link that video below. Personally, this video is one of my favorites. It was a real passion project for me. All right, anyway, so the first thing I want to do is discuss the science of the Lumen and how it works, because again, it's really fascinating. So I mentioned before that the Lumen determines the primary substrate which your body is using for fuel by measuring the amount of CO2, carbon dioxide, that you expire. This is based on the science of something called respiratory quotient. And respiratory quotient is measured through a process called indirect calorimetry. Indirect calorimetry is a process of measuring your body's heat production by measuring the ratio of CO2 you exhale to the amount of oxygen you inhale. With this value, your resting metabolic rate, RMR, aka resting energy expenditure, REE, and your respiratory quotient can be calculated. REE/RMR is basically the very, very minimum amount of energy that your body needs to carry out basic functions and metabolic processes that keep you alive every day. So if you were bedridden and didn't move at all, your body still requires energy to keep you alive. This amount of energy is your resting energy expenditure or your resting metabolic rate. Indirect calorimetry, when it's used, is most often used in the clinical setting, and it's used to estimate a person's energy needs, usually a person who is critically ill. I have been taught all about this as a dietetics student because it's a really important value and it's important information for the clinical dietitian to know. It helps the dietitian determine the amount of food to feed a critically ill patient, and it helps to prevent overfeeding and underfeeding, because both underfeeding and overfeeding can have negative consequences on a patient's health or recovery. So indirect calorimetry is considered to be the gold standard for determining somebody's resting metabolic rate. However, it's actually a very expensive process, and a lot of medical facilities actually don't have the resources to do it. So in the high chance that a medical facility does not have the access to indirect calorimetry, that's when predictive equations are used instead. Now, do you all need to know this stuff? I mean, maybe not, but I'll be honest. Just now, by telling you guys all that stuff, I'm actually studying for my exams. Sometimes I verbally recite things out loud while I'm studying, and then I film it, and then I put it on YouTube. You guys think I'm filming a YouTube video, but really I'm studying. So back to respiratory quotient, or RQ for short. RQ is the measure of oxygen inhaled versus carbon dioxide exhaled. It is expressed in a number usually between 0.7 and up to 1.0. From an article about respiratory quotient from the National Institute of Health, carbohydrates are oxidized through aerobic respiration, resulting in an equal ratio of CO2 released and oxygen consumption. Subsequently, the RQ for fat, protein, and anaerobia is 0.7, 0.8, and 0 respectively. If a mixture of the substrates is consumed, then the RQ ratio collectively is 0.8. So why is all this relevant? Well, remember, the lumen works by determining the amount of CO2 you exhale. And using this information, it estimates the substrate, carbohydrates or fats, that your body is using most for fuel. And this is the moment where we're kind of tying everything together. So all of this is well and good. Love that. Great. Love cool science things. But this brings us back to our original question, is the lumen really necessary? Like, does the average person really need it? If the average individual is in overall good health and wants to lose like 10 or 15 pounds, do they need the lumen? Is the lumen necessary for individuals who just want to enhance and improve their health, i.e. just doing things like exercising more and eating more vegetables and drinking more water? The answer you will likely get from most nutrition and healthcare professionals is no. And once again, my opinion as somebody with a biology degree and somebody studying nutrition science, I agree with that. My opinion of the lumen is that it is not necessary for weight loss or to achieve health. But I think it's a cool gadget. If you're on like the non-bullshit side of social media, like the side of social media that's more evidence-based and science-based and not as fitness-influency, you've probably seen a lot of nutrition and healthcare professionals kind of debunk the lumen or express their opinions that it's just not a necessary device before. However, there's still no shortage of healthcare professionals, example physicians, that do endorse it. Take Dr. Jason Fung for one. Dr. Fung is a nephrologist, a kidney doctor, and he is the bane of a lot of nutrition professionals' existence. He's a big proponent for fasting, for like fixing everything, and in my opinion, he almost has a cult-like following. It's weird. I've criticized Dr. Fung before in videos, and people have I mean, I guess I shouldn't use the word attacked, but people were like mad that I insinuated that their Lord and Savior, Dr. Fung, was wrong. So here's a clip of Dr. Fung, a nephrologist, endorsing the lumen and being debunked by Dr. Lane Norton, who has a PhD in nutrition science, which means he is more knowledgeable in nutrition and food science than a physician, by the way.
A video from Dr. Jason Fung, and this is on the account from Lumen. Now, for those of you guys who are not aware, Lumen is a device that you breathe into that basically tells you whether or not you're burning carbs or fats. Wow.
If you are continually burning carbs, well, you can't burn body fat. It's a different fuel source entirely. Glucose, carbs, or fat, that is body fat or dietary fat, are your main sources of fuel. In this study, those people who were burning mostly fat tend to keep that body weight off, or in fact even lose more body weight. And those who tended to
That's
burn
not what the study said, Jason.
carbohydrates tended to gain the most weight.
The study showed that there was a correlation between the respiratory exchange ratio and the CO2 that was expired and measured by this device. He just added in that little bit at the end for, flavor. Jason is taking half the truth, which is if you're on a low carb diet, you burn more fat, and then leaping to what he wants you to believe, which is you will lose more body fat by doing that. Can you lose body fat on a low carb diet? Absolutely you can, if you are consuming less calories than you burn. If you eat a lot of fat, but eat low carb, you will burn a lot of fat. You will also store a lot of fat because you don't really store dietary carbohydrate as fat. In metabolic tracer studies, they show that less than 2% of what you eat with carbohydrate winds up in actual adipose tissue. Over 98% is from dietary fat.
I just wanted to share this last part of the caption of his Instagram account. I'm not going to read the entire caption. He pretty much just sums up everything he says in the video. He does offer a conclusion on the lumen in his caption that he did not mention in the video, and it reads, "As for lumen, is it useful? If you care about substrate oxidation, I guess it's cool, but does it actually tell you anything about how well your diet works or how much fat you are losing? No." So if you've never heard of Dr. Lane Norton, what are you doing with your life? He's at the Instagram handle BiOLane, and I highly recommend giving him a follow. He shares evidence-based information about nutrition and food science, and a lot of his posts are debunking and clarifying the charlatans out there in social media, and there are a lot, believe me. He cites sources, he provides clear and easily consumable information. So yeah, follow BiOLane. So it may come as a surprise that a lot of keto zealots love the lumen, but if you understand the science, it actually makes sense. It's because theoretically, the lumen can help with the goals of the ketogenic diet, which is to achieve and maintain ketosis. Ketosis is the metabolic state which your body is burning fat for fuel instead of carbohydrates, which results in having elevated amounts of ketone bodies in your blood. Being in nutritional ketosis is not considered to be unsafe. However, being in prolonged ketosis can eventually become dangerous because 2 of the 3 main ketone bodies, acetoacetate, acetone, and beta-hydroxybutyrate, are acidic. And being in the state of ketosis for a long time can actually cause your blood to become acidic, which can lead to the condition of ketoacidosis. And that's basically just the state of your blood becoming too acidic because of the overabundance of ketone bodies in it. So why are keto zealots also in love with the lumen? Well, we already established what the lumen does. It estimates the substrate which your body is using most for fuel, carbohydrates or fats. If you are burning primarily fat for fuel, then you have achieved ketosis. And using a device like the lumen can theoretically help you maintain that ketosis through manipulating your diet. Now, I do want to say that the ketogenic diet is actually applicable in certain clinical settings. The keto diet has been used as an epilepsy treatment in children since the early 1920s. So whenever someone is doing a medically supervised ketogenic diet, they're being overseen and closely watched by a team of medical professionals, including but not limited to a physician, probably a neurologist, a nurse that specializes in neurology, and a registered dietitian that specializes in the ketogenic diet for epilepsy. And the reason is because being on a prolonged ketogenic diet can have negative consequences on your health. However, by having a team of well-trained medical professionals looking after you, they're monitoring your health closely to minimize the risk of anything negative happening from being on the keto diet, or even taking steps to prevent those negative side effects. Now, something that I personally, I don't know, I guess you could say it rubs me about the lumen and about like whatever I see people who promote it is I find that very often these people ignore basic human biology and physiology. The human body and just about every cell in it prefers glucose for fuel. Glucose is necessary for so many metabolic functions your body carries out every second of every day. That's how it is. That's how it's been since the beginning of time. When your body starts breaking down fat for fuel, which is a process we've discussed at length before called gluconeogenesis, that means your body has resorted to its backup plan. Gluconeogenesis is plan B. It's what your body does whenever it's not getting enough glucose from what you're eating, aka if you're not eating enough carbohydrates. Whenever your body's tapped out of its glucose reserves and you're not giving it anything to make glucose, aka carbs, it has to resort to making its own. This process is called gluconeogenesis. It happens in the liver. In my opinion, forcing your body to resort to fat for fuel instead of glucose can do 2 things. 1, you are putting your health at risk by manipulating your natural biology and physiology and forcing your body to do something and be in a state that it is not intended to be in all the time or for super long periods of time, i.e. using fat for fuel instead of carbs, especially when it's unsupervised. I'm not talking about a medically supervised keto diet here. I'm talking about like just the average individual. And 2, I think that it can set the precedence for disordered eating tendencies. What, baby? She's like being so chill. Come on. Come on. Okay, yes. This is probably your last day. I know. You guys love Stormy. I love her too. But I'm happy for her. Happy for her as she attacks me. She's so aggressive. Anyway, yeah, I think that it can set the precedence for disordered eating. And the reason for that is because I see people using this thing in social media and they're trying so hard and they're becoming obsessed with their eating habits that they're trying to manipulate their diet in such a way to force your physiology to do something else, which they're manipulating through their diet. I've even seen a lot of dietitians on Instagram straight up call the regular use of the lumen disordered, and I think I can agree with that. If we look at the definition of disordered disordered eating. It's easy to see, in my opinion anyway, how incessant usage of the lumen and preoccupation with your diet to get a certain number from the lumen can be disordered. Eatright.org has an article about disordered eating, so I will read some fragments from it right now, and I will also link the article below, as usual. Disordered eating is used to describe a range of irregular eating behaviors that may or may not warrant a diagnosis of a specific eating disorder. Many individuals with disordered eating symptoms are diagnosed with eating disorders not otherwise specified, or EDNOS. However, similar to AN or BN, anorexia nervosa or bulimia nervosa, EDNOS has specific criteria that must be met in order for the patient to receive this diagnosis, and that criteria is also narrowing. The most significant difference between an eating disorder and disordered eating is whether or not a person's symptoms and experiences align with the criteria defined by the American Psychiatric Association. The term, quote, disordered eating, end quote, is a descriptive phrase, not a diagnosis. Thus, while many people who have disordered eating patterns may fit the criteria for EDNOS, it also is possible to have disordered eating patterns that do not fit within the current confines of an eating disorder diagnosis. Symptoms of disordered eating may include, but are not limited to, frequent dieting, anxiety associated with specific foods or meal skipping, rigid rituals and routines surrounding food and exercise, preoccupation with food, weight, and body image that negatively impacts quality of life, using exercise, food restriction, fasting, or purging to, quote, make up for bad foods, end quote, consumed. It is one thing for a person with a peanut allergy to avoid peanuts. Duh, they're allergic. But it may be considered disordered if somebody who does not have a peanut allergy and has no medical reason for needing to avoid peanuts avoids peanuts because they perceive them to be an unhealthy food. And if they do eat some peanuts, then they feel bad about themselves for doing so. Then they go to the gym and run on the treadmill for an hour to work off the peanuts they ate. That could be considered disordered eating. So you can see how persistent use of the lumen can cause stress for somebody. They can only eat certain foods because eating other foods will result in them blowing a number on the lumen that they don't like or that they perceive to be unhealthy or bad. They're not allergic to those foods. There's no medical reason why they cannot eat those foods, but they just avoid them because eating those foods gives them a specific number on the lumen scale that they don't like, and they perceive that number to be bad or unhealthy. So my friend, registered dietitian Abby Langer at the handle Langer Nutrition, wrote a detailed blog post about the lumen last year, and I'll link it below. Obviously, I read the whole post, and I personally agree with the conclusion that she arrived at. Is the lumen cool? Sure. Is it useful for the average person? No, not really. And she also mentioned that it does have the potential to be triggering in those with a history of or those who are predisposed to eating disorders. She also said it's one of those things where, yeah, the information is cool, but like, who gives a shit, you know? Okay, she didn't say those exact words, but that's basically what she said. It's useless information, and I agree with that. The last sentence of her post is one I wholeheartedly agree with. What matters is why we want to hack even the most basic of physiological processes instead of believing that a healthy body can do its job on its own. Beautifully said. I agree with this. Your body using primarily carbohydrates for fuel and resorting to fat for fuel when it needs to are both completely normal and natural metabolic processes in most of us. Lumen says that it can help you hack this. It's not a hack. It's what your body already knows how to do. My body is supposed to use carbohydrates for fuel. Why do I or anyone need to obsess about trying to manipulate and change that? I do want to say something right now. And I don't always especially my YouTube videos, talk about my own stuff. But I do just want to share this piece of information, something that I'm going through right now, because I do feel it's somewhat relevant. Shortly after New Year's, mid-January, I decided that I want to start a cut, aka lose body fat. I'm healthy, I'm strong, and I'm fit, and it's perfectly safe and healthy for me to do so. And since mid-January, when I started my cut, I've lost around 12 pounds, I think. All I have done is reduce my calories. That's it. I do not use any dietary supplements. I do not use any funny gadgets. My training routine is not excessive by any means. I exercise 5 to 6 days a week, and my routine includes resistance training, cardiovascular training, and yoga. I have not cut out a single type of food or an entire food group. I still drink my Starbucks if I want. I still eat Oreos when I want. I drink lots of water, and I also drink a lot of pink lemonade. I eat lots of fruits and vegetables, and I enjoy animal proteins such as chicken, fish, shrimp, and on occasion, red meat. Tonight I'm actually making my first pot roast and I'm really excited about it. I saw the recipe on Pinterest last week and I just like got inspired. I just felt like I wanted to make a pot roast and I bought a pot specifically for it today from Ross. So wish me luck on my pot roast. Anyway, you guys don't care about that. The reason I'm sharing that information with you guys is because there is no secret sauce. I'll say that I've lost a few pounds and the first thing people ask me is, oh my God, how did you do that? And when I respond and say, oh, I just eat less food, they're like, what? Really? That's it? Yes, that's it. There's no secret sauce. There's no hack. There's no magic pill. Just a good old-fashioned calorie deficit because for most of us, that's all it takes. It's these biohackers in social media that are making you think that you need all these supplements and all these gadgets and everything to lose weight or to just be a healthy human, but you don't. You don't. I would say 99, probably closer to 100% of the time, they just want to take your money. They usually have a discount code. I showed you guys several examples of people shilling the Lumen who also have a discount code. Listen, I'm not mad at somebody making an honest living. I'm not mad at that at all. But I just feel like in this way, making people think that they need a specific device, making people think that they need this, making people feel like they need this thing to lose weight and be healthy when they don't, I just don't like that. I feel like that's exploitative because the reality of it is no one needs this. Most people don't need that. My final thought here is, and keep in mind that I'm speaking in very general terms. We're talking about the average overall healthy human with no health conditions, no chronic disease, etc. Your body is not stupid. Your body uses glucose for fuel because it's supposed to. If it's burning fat for fuel, that's because it has to. It knows how to do both of those things without your interference. Again, I think the Lumen is a cool gadget. I would not buy one to regularly use, but like if there was one around, I don't know, if somebody was like, hey, you want to blow into this Lumen? Oh, that sounds inappropriate. If there were a Lumen available for me to just try for funsies, I would try it just for fun, just to see what it says. But I'm not relying on it for my health or to achieve fat loss because I've got that under control already on my own and because I know I just don't need it. For the average person, knowing how your metabolism behaves is cool, but it's not really useful information. Oh, my body is burning carbs for fuel right now. Awesome. I'm gonna eat this Oreo now. And also, we can't not bring up people who actually do have true metabolic conditions, such as inborn errors of metabolism. If you are one of those people, then guess what? The Lumen's not gonna help you. You need a doctor. You need a team of trained medical professionals to help you. Blowing into a little device, God, that looks so inappropriate when I do it that way. Blowing into the Lumen 3 or 4 times a day is cool, but somebody who has a diagnosed medical issue with their metabolism, I mean, you really need a team of medical professionals. I guess I'll leave it at that. All in all, I think the Lumen's cool. But I don't think it's necessary for most people. I don't think you're gonna die from using it, but again, I just don't think it's necessary. So that's my opinion on the Lumen. In conclusion, I already concluded. Try to keep up. If you made it to the end of this video, why don't you comment something really sweet for Stormy, actually, and wish her luck with her forever family and stuff. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos just like this, hit the subscribe button. And I think that is it for me today. I will see you all in the next one. Queen Lemon, over and out. Hey, little monster. Oh, now you just want to sit there? She wants to go outside. Oh, there she goes. Who was that? Who was that other dog? Is that you? She wants to go outside. Oops. My bad, girl. Here we go. Bye, Stormy. Oop, there's a squirrel on the fence over there. Unrelated, but my Japanese maple is in bloom. Isn't it so pretty? And our peach tree is starting to bear fruit there. It should be ready to pick by August, I think. And then that one and that one are pears. And then the one on the end there is a white mulberry. We got a lot of fruit trees around here. Bye.